Welcome back. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Mr. James Carrington podcast. How y'all doing out there? It's your boy, Mr. James Carrington, back at it again. And before we get into the nitty gritty of the show, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that like button and hit the notification bell as well. I'm going to give you guys about a minute to do that. If this is your first time on the show, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell. And I would also like to say this. For those of you who've already subscribed and have stayed subscribed, I appreciate you, I really do. Let's try and help grow the channel, and the way you can help me out is by sharing the content with your friends and loved ones, that way we can share knowledge amongst each other and grow the show as well. All right, so I'm going to give you guys about another 30 seconds to go ahead and do that. Thank you. NASDAQ falls 2% as tech leads stocks down after weak earnings. For those of you who are into the stock market, I know you don't check your portfolios anymore. Anyway. All right. If you hit the subscribe button, thank you. I appreciate you. All right. So let's get into it. So last week I made an episode called, entitled, "Is Africa Poor Because of Colonialism?" Right? And it was more like a response to a video that I saw on another brother's podcast channel. Okay, and the name of that channel, of the other brother's channel, is the Search for Uhuru, or Search for Uhuru. Okay, and I know in the video I referred to him as Brother Uhuru, but his name is actually Dynasty Amir. Okay, and I watched quite a few of his videos. Very entertaining. He's a gentleman who basically travels the continent, and he's really bringing an awareness and a presence to the continent, kind of like the likes of the guy from Ghana, Woody Maya, and a bunch of other vloggers who really tour the continent and really paint the continent in a positive light. All right, so why are my kids making so much noise over there? Anyway, see, this is why I need a professional studio. I go in there, lock myself in there, soundproof booth and everything, But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so Brother Dynasty, Dynasty Amir, basically had a whatchamacallit, did an episode entitled "Is Africa Poor Because of Colonialism?" Right? And basically he was doing it in response to a video by another gentleman called Jordan Peterson, who was interviewing, and Jordan Peterson, I think, is Canadian, and Jordan Peterson was interviewing this African lady, and they were talking about the legacy of colonialism, and as to whether colonialism helped to lead to this impoverished nature of African nations. And they were saying, Jordan Peterson and the African lady were saying that no, they don't think that colonial, the state that Africa finds itself right now in, the impoverished state, is not due to colonialism. And so Brother Amir was kind of agreeing with them. And I disagreed with what Brother Amir I disagreed with Brother Amir's stance. And so I did a video in response to that. And And in order for me to accomplish that, I had to basically give you guys an example of how, or the lasting impact of colonialism, right? The lasting impact of the legacy of colonialism, and how it led, or it leads, or has led to the impoverished nature of any typical African nation. And for this, I used Ghana as the backdrop. Okay, I used Ghana as an example. So if you haven't watched that video, I suggest you go and watch that video. Okay, I put it out, it hasn't even been a week, maybe about 4 days ago. Okay, go and watch that video, because this video that I'm making now is kind of almost like a continuation of that, but it has nothing to do with colonialism or anything. But it's kind of like I'm still talking about a particular sector or industry in Ghana, and what is going on with that industry in Ghana right now. What is going on with that sector in Ghana right now, and how it's affecting the nation as a whole. You understand? So if you haven't seen that previous episode, please go ahead and do that. And so let's get into it. So this first video is from Al Jazeera. Okay, Al Jazeera, and the title of the video is basically, there you can see Ghana environment. God damn, who wrote this? So grammar is terrible. Basically, they're talking about the environmental impact of illegal mining on Ghana. Okay. And so someone might be asking, well, what has that got to do with the cocoa episode? Well, you'll see that in a minute, because on this episode, I'm going to show you guys 4 different videos, and they'll all kind of tie in together. Okay. So let's start with the video from Al Jazeera.
Men are hard at work mining for gold in the eastern region of Ghana. What they're doing is illegal. They haven't gone through the stringent process of trying to get a license, but they're here with the consent of the landowner. Illegal mining, or galamsey as it's called here, is taking place in countless sites like this across Ghana. The miners don't want to be filmed, but the leader of this group agreed to talk to us about why they're doing this.
This galamsey here, at least every day you can get something to feed your family. And that's why everybody is putting himself.
Now, you guys saw he said galamsey. He used a word galamsey. Okay. Now, for those of you, my non-Ghanaian listeners, galamsey basically is just a Ghanaian term that is used for mining. Okay, but it is illegal mining. Okay, in the sense that these miners here, you need a license to mine for any sort of mineral, right? But there are those who do it without obtaining licenses. And when you do that, obviously, then it becomes illegal in nature. And the local term or slang for that in Ghana is galamsey. Okay. So as you can see in this video, what these young men are doing, they are illegally mining for gold. Okay. And this is something that has been going on for some time now. This is not new. Illegal mining in Ghana is not new. Okay. I remember growing up in Ghana as a teenager, we knew of illegal mines and illegal mining. It was already there. It used to be big in this town in Ghana called Akwetia. Okay. And Akwetia, I think the illegal miners usually would go and do their thing over there. They were mostly looking for diamonds, if I'm not mistaken. For those of you who are in Ghana, please remind me if it was gold or I think it was more like diamonds. So these illegal miners, they would dig these pits, underground tunnels and all this stuff. And obviously, because it is an illegal operation, right? These are not people who are licensed and have the technical know-how to build safe mines because they're not even supposed to be where they are, right? So there are no architects involved. There are no engineers, structural engineers involved. None of that stuff. These are just some people, some guys digging holes in the ground because they can't find gainful unemployment. They're just digging some tunnels in the ground, bringing up dirt, and, you know, sifting through the dirt till they find something. And the idea is that hopefully they will find something, a big rock, and that is what will change their fortunes. Okay? For those of you who remember the movie with what's his name? What's that guy who only dates younger women? DiCaprio. Remember DiCaprio, Leo DiCaprio, and Leonardo DiCaprio, and that African actor from Benin, Jaimon Honsu, made a movie called Blood Diamonds, right? If you guys will recall, there's a scene in Blood Diamonds, I think it's in the very beginning, where these guys are mining. Well, they weren't, yeah, I guess you could call it mining, but it's more like they were digging up dirt and they were rinsing the dirt in the river. And every now and then, if you found something, you know, they were surrounded by armed guards. So if you found something, they were looking for diamonds, you had to give the diamond to the armed guard. Otherwise, you would, you know, be killed. Well, obviously, same situation here. Now, why is my wife calling me right now? Yes. Somewhat now?
Like some clothes that you didn't finish ironing the other day.
Okay.
Like, you know,
Now, see, we had all day. You could have given them to me to do them all day. I was there. I could have done it all day. You could have given it to me, so I would have gotten it out of the way so I could have the evening to myself. But no. I'll be down there around 8.
that's what I'm saying. If I feel like you want to unwind, you know, you could watch TV and unwind. You can come and do that.
I'll be there at 8.
What are you doing? Are you doing a show?
Yes. And you have called right in the middle of it.
Well, there's no way for me to know. You know your kids are right out, you know, all day.
Yes, I know that. I can hear them. All right. Bye. Okay, now I forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, I was talking about Blood Diamonds. So anyway, so these guys are over here, they're mining illegally and whatnot, right? So, and this whole thing of, you know, illegal mining has been going on for decades in Ghana. It's not new in Ghana. What is new, however, is the scale to which it has expanded and the environmental impact that it is having on the country as a whole. Okay, so let's go back to the video. But I just wanted to point out, kind of give you a little bit of background as to what this older gentleman here was talking about.
And then pushing yourself into this system to support your livelihood. You see, that's it.
But the work is dangerous. Is it worth it? It's so dangerous.
Oh, okay. If you take good care of it, not so much dangerous, as you are saying.
They divert entire waterways in search of gold.
I gotta interject here. It is dangerous work because, as I was alluding to earlier, as opposed to legitimate mining, right, where engineers dig into the mines and they have, you know, structural engineers, architects, or whatever to make sure there aren't any cave-ins and whatnot. These people don't have that. They don't have that benefit, right? It's just a bunch of guys, unemployed, young, able-bodied men under the supervisor of someone going in and digging some holes and tunnels. They're like tunnel rats. And they are just, again, looking for, they're bringing up dirt with the hopes of finding some rare earth minerals in it. So occasionally, every now and then, the earth caves in on them. The tunnels cave in on them. It collapses on them. And there have been numerous fatalities. Okay, so as you can see, the lady pointed out to him, but it's dangerous. He's like, oh, lady, if I had known you were gonna come here talking all that dangerous stuff, I would not have agreed to this interview. Let's go back to the video.
And once they finish with a site, they often just abandon it. The small-scale miners who are licensed and regulated are required to reclaim the land. This group have been here for about a month now, and they say in the next few days they're actually going to be wrapping up. Now, they also say they're going to reclaim this land, but from what we've seen in this area so far, that just doesn't seem to be happening. This is just one of the abandoned sites we came across. And this is what's left of the River Brim, which runs through the area of Chebi. The methods the illegal miners use make the water murky and
Do y'all see that? This is what I mean by the environmental impact that Galamsey is having on Ghana as a country. When I was a teenager growing up in Ghana, illegal mining was there, but it wasn't this protracted. It wasn't this prevalent. And it certainly wasn't affecting the bodies of water the way it is now. Now, you go online and there are videos captured by drones of whole rivers, big bodies of water that all look like this. Totally destroyed. There are the satellite images to show you the before and after photos. To show you what the river used to look like 10, 15 years ago compared to now. Whole entire rivers. The fish is dead. The fish, they're all dead. Nothing can live in these rivers anymore. And so it's just this big toxic sludge just making its way slowly to, I guess, eventually the ocean. Anyway, let's continue.
too dirty for the local community to use.
They normally treat with mercury and then cyanide. And these chemicals are also deadly for our health. Bear in mind that the water they are dealing with.
In case you guys can't hear what he's saying, he said they treat some of the chemicals that they use in their activities include mercury and cyanide. So these are all chemicals that are being pumped into the water. These are all chemicals that are being pumped into the water. Let that sink in for a minute.
For drinking purposes.
The boss of the government body in charge of regulating the mining industry admits that more needs to be done to tackle the problem.
We were not firm enough to stem the problem when it started. We did not nip it in the bud. So I think it is now for us to deal with it. We need the traditional leadership to be involved. We need the district assemblies to be involved. We need the public, the mindset, the public support.
The threat of arrest or prosecution is no deterrent for the illegal operators. The police regularly catch some of the miners.
You arrest them, put them before court. The next time you find him at the pit again with machine. Then when you go back again, say, I have been given court order to go and reclaim the place. Then you find out that he's reclaiming and then he's buying again.
The bill for the environmental cleanup is likely to run into millions of dollars, but it's not clear who will pay for it. Ama Boateng, Al Jazeera, Chebi, Ghana.
All right. So, did you guys all get that? So this is what's happening on a very large scale in Ghana. This is just what you're seeing here is just one tiny small scale operation. Okay, this is nothing compared to what's actually happening in Ghana. It's to a much larger scale. It's on a much larger scale now. Okay, these guys, obviously, as you can see, even with just shovels and water hoses, look at the amount of damage they've done to that terrain. Just with shovels and water hoses. Did y'all see that? And this is a small scale mining operation. This is small. The guys that are bigger, the ones that are doing on a much larger scale, they have scaled up illegal mining to the point where they're actually using excavators, earth moving machines to dig up the earth. And so what these guys could do in like a month, the guys with the excavators and the bigger machines and the caterpillars and all that stuff, they are doing what these guys could do in a month. They're doing that in like 2 days or 3 days. So imagine what a group like that, a large scale group, could do in a month, could do in 6 months, could do in a year. Imagine the amount of damage they could inflict on the environment if they are allowed to operate for more than a day or 2 or weeks or months. But this is what's happening right now in Ghana. Okay? To the point, Ghana is so wide open to the point that, and dig this, it's not just Ghanaians who are doing the illegal mining in Ghana anymore. Now the Chinese are down there doing illegal mining. The Chinese, they're coming. Ghana has sat down and allowed Chinese prospectors to come from China to Ghana to destroy Ghana's land. Okay? Let that sink in for a minute. We have sat down as a nation to the point where we're now, not only are we destroying our own land, we're saying, hey, you know what? If you got a little bit of money, you can come help us destroy some more of our land too. And that is what is happening in Ghana right now. There are illegal Chinese miners in Ghana right now destroying the land as we speak, all because, or all for the sake of mining, digging up earth. And the average Ghanaian that lives in neighborhoods like this, the average Ghanaian that lives in communities like this, okay, this is what they're waking up to every day. Their waterways are being destroyed. Their source of drinking water is being destroyed. A lot of these communities are since they're close to rivers and a lot of them are fishing communities. A lot of them are cocoa communities, okay, farmlands. But the people that live on these lands either are cocoa farmers, right? Or they are fishermen that need the bodies of water to fish. But because of what's going on as a result of illegal mining, it is taking away the livelihood of these people. So not only are the guys with the cocoa farms having their farms destroyed so that they could make way for illegal mining purposes, but the fishermen can't go and fish either because the water bodies are also being destroyed and there is no fish. The fish are dead. The fish are dying off. Let's watch the second video. Now in this video, I get this from Joy News, which is a TV/radio station down there in Ghana. In this video, it says the title, Samples of Every River and Stream the Joy News team collected at the Galamsey site. So that's that word again, Galamsey, okay? Let's watch the video.
We collected samples of every river and stream that we visited. And that is what we have packaged for you to see how they look like as we speak. So the first one here, this is River Nkobra as we speak now. This is the River Ofin. In fact, we fetched this one, the stream Afuafu. The Afuafu stream is at Sehujabo, so there is a town called Mafia where they are doing illegal mining. The stream has been so polluted, we had to pick a sample, and this is how it looks like. And if you look at how deep it is, the pollution, and even as we fetch samples of it, the Afuafu stream, there's a Amoya stream, they are all in the same area.
Okay.
After I stored it for a while, you could see the metal content. This is original bottle. You see some metal content depositing in the bottle over there. This is the River Bunsa. The River Bunsa is at Takwa, they're close to Takwa.
Okay.
That's where we fetched this one from. This is the stream Totwa. Totwa is after Asankregwa. And on our way there, we saw some two men mining, and you see that in the documentary. And they told us point blank, we don't have the permit. We just want to make some money. And they've polluted the stream so bad that we wanted to pick a sample and show you how it looks like. This one is Nwin. The River Nwin is in Dompim, inside the Patahon forest. And that one is also redirected. You will not even be able to identify its course. This one you see here is the Tano River. And we fetched this from Atala, the villages of Atala, Ohiam Penika and Datano. That's where we fetched the samples from. This one is River Bia. You know the Bia joins other great rivers. We fetched this one from Sefi Jaboso. There is a town called Mafia. And of course, this is the Amoya stream, which joins the Bia at a certain point. So if you see the color of this, at a point when it gets into this, this is the lighter version of this one.
And I think it's also important to compare with this bottle of water we just bought.
Yeah, so this is clean, normal water.
Yeah.
And so you can just look at the difference. And so this is the state of our rivers as we have them today due to illegal mining. And I think if anybody is seeing this, and if you are in authority and you are fighting this, if you are a military person and you are also fighting this, and you see this, if this is how we want to keep our water sources, then it's up to us.
All right. So basically that video was self-explanatory. What these guys did was they went and they took samples from all these different rivers and streams and bodies of water, and they're showing you what the water looks like presently. Okay, the water is not supposed to look like that, but this is what it looks like presently because of the activities of the illegal mining. So I think any rational, sane human being can conclude that at the rate at which Ghana is going and allowing this to unfold, it is safe, right? It is safe to conclude that maybe in about 5-10 years, at this rate, if unchecked, if we do not put a stop to this right now, in about 5 to 10 years, it is safe to conclude that all the bodies of water would be polluted. And at that point, if just about every river in your country, if just about every body of water in your country is polluted and looks like this, you can't get drinking water out of it. You can't filter it to the point where you can even bathe with it. You can't fish in it. Then where are you going to get your water? That means you're going to have to import all your water. Now, there are some people who might say, well, maybe we can, drill boreholes and, or drill real deep into the earth's into the earth and then get water, extract water from there. Well, the problem with that is, as you guys heard, they're putting chemicals in this water, right? Mercury, cyanide, and only God knows what else. So these chemicals are going to seep into the earth, and they are going to go so deep, they're going to get into any other, because usually what it is, and this is what I learned from geography in high school, you have your regular bodies of water, right? And then you have a little bit of earth in between, and then you have underground bodies of water. Now, the underground bodies of water are the ones that you really want to, well, not that the surface bodies of water aren't important, but underground bodies of water, it's very important that you maintain their health. Okay? And that is why things like sewage, water runoff, and, heavy mineral deposits and stuff like that are of grave concern, because once these things start to seep into the ground, eventually they are going to hit the underground bodies of water. And the underground bodies of water are kind of like the last bastion of water that's available to us as human beings. Okay? So if all the bodies of water on the surface are polluted, at least you can dig deep enough to get water from underground. Think of it as kind of like a reservoir. Okay? Think of it as kind of like when God in all his wisdom created earth, he knew that human beings, being the stupid creatures that we are, we were going to pollute the clean bodies of water that he had given us. We were going to pollute them. So he said, these guys are stupid. So let me hide some water from them, okay? So that when they destroy the ones that are on the water that's on the surface, eventually the smart ones among them will know that there is some water on the ground, and they will tap into that water. Well, guess what? Human beings found the ones that were underground, but they didn't think that, the dumb ones didn't think that we should preserve that water. The smart ones know we should. The dumb ones don't, right? But because of the actions of those who don't care, because of the actions of a few greedy individuals who are polluting the surface waters, and it's not enough for you to pollute the surface waters. Your actions also have to affect the ones that are in storage, the ones that are underground that we can use eventually. So not only are you destroying our present, you're destroying our future too. So you see why this is problematic. You see why this is a very problematic situation for the people of Ghana. And then someone will also say, well, aren't the authorities doing anything about it? The authorities claim they are, but clearly you guys can see that whatever it is the authorities are doing is not working. It is not working. There is even innuendo. There is even speculation. There's even rumors that a lot of the authorities are even behind what's going on. But I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just presenting what I can present to you right now, and you can draw your own conclusion. As a nation, we have sat down and we are not only destroying our lands, destroying our waters, our bodies of water, but like I said, the part that even pisses me off is the fact that now we're allowing foreigners to come into the country and help us destroy the land. Let's watch the next video. The next video will kind of tie into this, as well as tie into the video from the last episode that I told you guys to go and watch. So it's imperative that you go to the episode before this one and you watch that video. And the title of that is Are African Nations Poor Because of Colonialism? All right. Let's go to the next video. Now, the next video is from a website called Coco Post TV. Wow, so many YouTube channels, man. Cocoa Post TV. And the title of the video is Why Cocoa Farmers Are Selling Out to Illegal Galamsey Gold Miners. So, as the title implies, I have shown you a video, an introductory video to what Galamsey is, right? So, you know what Galamsey is. It's illegal mining. And the second video that I showed you was the impact the so-called illegal mining was having on the bodies of water in Ghana. Okay? Now, I'm about to show you a third video. So you're putting 2 and 2 together now, right? The third video here says the cocoa farmers are selling to illegal Galamsey. Why they are selling to illegal Galamsey gold miners. If you will recall, about 5 minutes ago, I told you the people who live in these communities where this a lot of this Galamsey activity is going on, a lot of them, especially the ones who live by bodies of water, they're either farmers or they're either cocoa farmers. Okay? So they either work on the land or on the water. But I alluded to the fact that these guys were losing their way of lives. They were losing their livelihood, their means of livelihood, because either you're on the water fishing or you're on the land farming. But Galamsey is affecting both of you guys, because the Galamsey activity, the nature of it, requires that the earth be dug up. And while the earth is being dug up, the earth is being destroyed. So you can't farm on the land, right? And the toxic material that is being used to process the earth is now then being dumped into the river waterways. And so you can't fish in the water either. So this right here is saying that some of the farmers are actually selling their land to the Galamsey gold miners. And you'd be like, oh, why are they doing that? So let's go ahead and watch this video and see why they're doing that.
A year ago, this bare land was littered with cocoa, but today it has been ravaged by the hunt for gold by illegal miners. Several cocoa farms in the Kunsu traditional area have suffered the same fate. Akwesi Fodio has been growing cocoa for the past 20 years. Proceeds from the cash crop has been his main source of income until now. The father of 6 has leased part of his farmland to Galamsey operators.
So this is a farmer. It's an older gentleman. He's been growing the crop for about 20 years now. But now he has decided to lease part of his farmland to the illegal miners. Okay? So let's go and interview the gentleman and ask him why he felt that was such a good idea.
You see this piece of land, I took over about 300 million from it. Just 2 months. I built my own 2 rooms at Wadi Makasi, but I worked 20 years without buying even a single plot. Now I have my own premises.
Okay. Now I know his accent might be a little problematic for you, my non-Ghanaian listeners or my non-African listeners. If you're from Africa, chances are you understood what he said. But for those of you who are watching from Asia, Europe, and America, and the rest of them. So what he's saying is he leased his farmland to the miners, the illegal miners. And in 2 months, he was able to make, and he mentioned some astronomical amount. I personally don't think that's what he made, but he said 300 million of the local currency, which I did the calculation. There is no way. He said 300 million. I did the calculation. Okay, right now the local currency, the Ghanaian cedi is trading at, let's be conservative and say 14. A dollar will get you about 14 of the local currency. So 300 million. This is what he claims. Okay, 300 million divided by 14 That's like $21 million. Now, obviously, this man is not sitting on $21 million. So, just to be fair, let's say he didn't mean 300 million. What he meant was $3 million. I mean, 3 million Ghanaian cedis, right? So 3 million divided by 14, $285,000. Something up north of 200,000 American dollars. I don't even think he made that much. I think it's about a tenth of this. I think he probably leased his farm for about, so we're looking 214,200. I think he probably got about $20,000 for his land. $20,000 is what I think. There is no way this gentleman got anything more than $200,000 for leasing his land. He said 300 million. I think it's more like maybe about 30,000 Ghanaian cedis. Okay, there is no way, because it's more like 300,000 Ghanaian cedis. I think he got about 300,000 Ghanaian cedis, and in his mind, the number is so big, or they probably lied to him and told him, hey, you're going to get 300 million. All he heard was 300, and he saw a whole bunch of zeros behind it, and he said 300 million. But obviously, I just demonstrated to you there is no way he got $300 million. 300 million cedis, because 300 million cedis would be the equivalent of 21 million American dollars. This dude here ain't sitting on no 21 million American dollars. Okay, so I shaved off another decimal, and that would still bring him up to, let's see. So we're not doing 300 million. Let's do 30 million. Let's do 30 million. 30 million divided by 14. That will bring him up to about $2,142,850. $2 million. This dude ain't sitting on no $2 million. No way. So I am, and I don't even think if I shaved off another decimal, that would bring him up to about 200,000. I still don't think he got 200,000. I think he probably got about $20,000 because I shaved off another decimal. I think they probably gave him about $20,000, which is a lot of money for an average Ghanaian. For you to give an average Ghanaian $20,000 and say, let me just destroy a part of your land. You can give me half of your land for me to do whatever I want with it, and you can still keep the other half for your cocoa activity, your cocoa farming. This dude will take it. And he says he did. And he says, what did he do with the money? He has been able to build a house. He said he has been able to build a house. I guess this is a feat he hadn't accomplished in over 20 years of him of him farming. However, here comes whoever and says, here's $20,000. Let me just lease half of your land to me. Lease it to me. I'll give it back to you. I'm not taking it indefinitely. I'm not buying it. I'm just leasing it. So in his mind, this is a freaking good deal, because not only does he get $20,000, but at the end of the day, he gets his land back. What they're not telling him, though, is, oh, you're going to get the land back in such a state that you can't do anything on it for the next 50 years. They're not telling him that part. But because of poverty, he'll take what he can get right now. You see, he'll take what he can get right now. For him to get $20,000 in one sitting, he doesn't even do that at the end of every harvest every year. He's never for 20 years been able to get that much money. He may have done it over 20 years. He's obviously probably got more than 20,000 over 20 years, but never in one sitting. Never in 1 year has he gotten a check for 20,000 American dollars. So he gets that. He deposits it, and it's a lot of money for him in one sitting. So you see why it would make financial and economic sense for him to lease part of his land to whoever approaches him. Let's continue.
So I like myself on the gold more than cocoa.
He appears unperturbed, cutting down his cocoa trees.
Government can never stop.
He is even helping them cut the cocoa trees. He's like, you know what, guys? Just for giving me this money. Don't even. I myself will cut the trees down for you. Oh man, I can see him with the machete going around. He's looking at some of the trees, the ones that are really old, and like, you don't really bring me much anymore anyway. You used to be an earner, but you don't earn much anymore. So I gotta let you go, bruh. He has no problem whatsoever cutting down his own trees because he got to make some money. Okay.
Galamsey in this Ghana at all.
Let me just rewind this so you guys can hear what he said.
Government can never stop Galamsey in this Ghana at all. I have to go.
You heard that? He said the government cannot stop Galamsey in this country at all. He's letting y'all know the government ain't gonna do squat. If the government ain't ready to pay me, I'll do what I need to do to feed my family. And if that means I gotta sell off my cocoa farm or lease it off or whatever to whoever will cut me a $20,000 check, well then so be it. This is the reality.
Plenty money in my pocket, so I don't mind cocoa. Look, I'm now cutting it off. You see, it is my own Boniface property. Nobody can stop me to stop cutting my own cocoa tree. Are you planting for me? Planting for you, food and job. Am I involved?
The 62-year-old is among many farmers who have sold their cocoa farms to these miners. Illegal mining continues to thrive in some cocoa growing areas due to what many consider to be lack of enforcement. Here at Konsu, it is common to see these miners digging and scavenging for gold when you walk through several cocoa farms. Between 2019 and 2020, around 19,000 to 20,000 hectares of cocoa farms across the country were destroyed by illegal.
Did you guys hear that? Look at the drone footage. You guys see that? Look at the devastation. Look at the destruction. Look at it. This is where we find ourselves as a nation down there in Ghana. This is the current state of the country. This right here, what you're seeing on your screen, people. Let's rewind a little bit. There were some statistics the reporter just mentioned, and I want you to hear it.
1,000 to 20,000 hectares of cocoa farms. Between 2019 and 2020, around 19,000 to 20,000 hectares of cocoa farms across the country were destroyed by illegal miners, according to a recent Cocoa Board report. Gold miners targeted major cocoa growing towns in Ashanti, Eastern, Western, and Western North regions. Eric Adekusi, a miner, explains the means they use to get the farmland from the farmers.
All right, now this guy is speaking the local dialect, so I'll have to interpret for you. Okay, let's go back a little bit.
Farmland from the farmers.
So what he just said was, if you see someone's cocoa farm being ravaged, and being used for mining, they weren't forced to give it up. It's more like it was of their own will, their own free will, or their own volition. They voluntarily gave it up. Well, not voluntarily. I mean, there was an financial incentive, obviously. Okay, So what he's basically saying is it's not like these illegal miners are coming to these people and pointing guns at their heads and saying, "Hey, give me your land." You know what I'm saying? That was the essence of what he just said. Let's listen in some more.
Every cocoa farm we work on is being sold by the owner. We don't use force to take anyone's farmland. We just
I didn't even know there was going to be a narration, but that's good. Now I don't have to narrate it for you guys.
do everything possible to convince the owner to sell the farmland by giving him more money if we realize there is gold there. We sometimes go the extra mile to get the land by diverting a water body to destroy the farm.
This is 1 acre, they told 10,000. Let's make a amount. 1 acre, 50,000. Now, I have brown over now. Now, want to be still our 1 year. Yet, you go to your boss, so then spend before cocoa. Never cocoa you. Now,
you know what? This is a disheartening video. This is actually my first time watching the video in its entirety. I didn't even know. I don't like to watch these videos beforehand, because if I do that and later on I am presenting it to you guys, there will be a level of bias because I've already seen it. And I don't want that. I want my reaction to these videos to be as authentic as possible. So this particular video, I haven't seen. This is my first time watching it. And what this gentleman is saying here, this is eye-opening to me. This is a revelation to me, because he's saying, you heard what the narrator said. He said, if they approach you, right? So they may not necessarily come to you and point a gun at you or say, hey, we're going to, they'll come to you first. They'll try to bribe you. They'll say, well, 1 acre of your land, if you were to sell it today, goes for about 10,000 of the local currency. I'll give you 50,000 for it. And if that doesn't persuade you, they will go upstream, and they have a means, or they have ways to divert water onto your land. Okay, that means they're channeling some of the waterways. They're channeling some of it onto your farm, and they're flooding your farm, effectively killing off your plants. Now, if they kill off your plants, you ain't got no farm, right? So this is one of the means by which they're able to get the farmers to acquiesce and give up the land. Now, obviously, some people will resist them, I'm guessing, and those are the ones that they resort to such brutal tactics to kind of force them to give up the land. The gentleman that we saw earlier, the older 62-year-old, he's 62 years old. He doesn't have the energy. He has no fight in him. All they had to do was just give him a $20,000 check, and he was like, oh my God, this is a lot of money. Here, go ahead. I'll even cut the trees for you. But there are some who might be like, you know what? No. This farm has been in this family for damn near almost a century. Okay? My grandpappy farmed it. His pappy farmed it. And I took it over. And I plan on giving it to my kids. There is no way in hell I am leasing this land to you. And they're the ones that will wake up one day, go down, and see that their farms have been flooded. This is terrible. But this is where we have reached as a nation. And as I told you earlier, it's not just Ghanaians that are engaging in these illegal mining activities. The Chinese are also down there. Just go on YouTube and just go Google Galamsey and Chinese mining in Ghana, illegal mining in Ghana. There are people have made tons of videos on it. So I'm not even going to get into that. But if you can seriously sit there and tell me that you claim to be a child of Ghana and you're not angered by this, then I don't know what to tell you.
oba ni betwe oba ni betwe oka ebe kakra do wakra no wontimi na tie fomo de be yaso oba gisika do adai oda ne amame.
According to the International Cocoa Organization's April Cocoa Market Report, the 2021-2022 cocoa season is heading towards a world deficit of approximately 181,000 tons, mainly due to a shortfall in the Ghanaian production. 67-year-old Nana Kwesi Poku, a cocoa farmer, fears cocoa production will drop drastically in the coming years if measures are not put in place to prevent farmers from selling their farmland to the miners.
Maya kuyajuma buru mfia dua sako ben fia dua nai. Tseme cocoa kuyani na mati cocoa ben fia dua nai na mini million dua na da hwa. Na mai mobo.
I have done cocoa farm for close to 40 years, but I can't boast of having 4,000 cedis. So if someone offers 50,000 Ghana cedis to take over the farm, why shouldn't I give it to the person? If government does not re-strategize and put in place measures to make the farming lucrative, cocoa production will decline drastically in the...
Now you see what I was just telling you guys when I was kind of trying to break down the math for you guys with the first guy. I told you. He mentioned some astronomical amount, but I don't think that's what he got. It does not take very much money. It does not take much of a financial incentive to get these guys to turn over their lands to you. This is a gentleman who's been working for 40 years. He's been tilling this land for 40 years. And yet, even in his best year, I don't think he made close to 20,000 American dollars in his best year. And so for someone to come to him and say, you know what, old man, I see you out here, you working hard. You 60-something years old. You can't keep doing this forever, man. It's time for you to kind of sit back, relax, and enjoy the fruits of your labor. I have a business proposition for you. I'm going to give you the equivalent of 20,000 American dollars. And he's going to be like, what? Why? What do I have to do? Oh, you don't have to do much. All you got to do is just sign this paper here and give me the rights to lease your land or buy it or whatever you feel more comfortable with, so I can come in and you know, do some illegal mining over here. This gentleman will sell his land quick or lease it or whatever it is. He doesn't, because the whole time they're talking to him, they probably have the check like this. They're waving it in front of him and his head is probably going like this the whole time they're talking to him. Like, he's not even listening to the words that are coming out of their mouth. Let's go to the next video. It's that gentleman again. But,
man can never stop.
Oh, of course I have to give credit where credit. So this is from TV3 Ghana, which is, again, it's a TV station down there in Ghana. And the title of this video is Galamsey, again, on cocoa farmers. Farmer rescinds decision to lease farm. And here we have this gentleman again. So I'm guessing farmer rescinds. So I'm guessing he probably decided not to. Let's just go watch the video. Let's go see what he's saying now.
Galamsey in this Ghana at all. I have a gold. I have plenty money in my pocket, so I don't mind cocoa. Look, I'm now cutting it off. You see, it is my own Boniface property. Nobody can stop me to stop cutting my own cocoa tree. Are you planting for me? Planting for you, food and job. I'm not involved. I can't plan another.
The visibly angry cocoa farmer says he has for the past few years not been getting enough yields due to his overaged cocoa trees.
Look at my farm. All the farm have died and they have money on the ground. How can I not go and dig the land and take my resource? I will go and dig and take my resource.
So a brief summary of what was just if you guys will recall, well, you will only recall this if you watched the episode prior to this one. So one of the problems that the cocoa farmers face is after a while, the land gets exhausted, right? The land gets exhausted, the trees are old, so they don't yield as much. So again, it all boils down to the financial incentive. So here you are, you're a 60-something-year-old farmer. You own cocoa farms. The cocoa trees are not yielding as much. You're making less and less as time goes by. And then someone comes to you and says, you know what? Forget what's on the surface of the land. It's what underneath that matters. And you are sitting on a gold mine. But you don't have the capability to get the gold out of the ground. I do. And so let me lease your land and give you 20,000 American dollars. Okay? And I'll go in there and I'll do whatever, I'll basically rape your land, pillage it, loot it. So that's what he's saying. He's like, I don't care about the cocoa up top. There's gold underneath. There's gold in the ground. And he's saying, it's my gold, kind of like it's mine. But obviously, it's about to be taken away from him. He signed away the rights to it. He signed away the concession rights to it. He doesn't. He could give a rat's behind about the cocoa on the top. It's what's underneath is going to feed him now. That's what he just said.
But after the TV3 report, Cocoa Board officials have visited the farmer to engage and convince him not to sell his farmland to the miners.
They tell me they will help me on the beginning of the year to cut all the cocoa trees out and started to plant new ones and planting sockets for us.
Okay. So you guys caught that, right? So basically, this is the gentleman from the previous video, right? Where he was saying how the 62-year-old, I guess after that report aired out, government officials caught the wind of it. And they immediately, the Cocoa Board guys, the Cocoa Board is basically the agency that oversees the production of cocoa in Ghana and ensures that it's processed and exported to Western nations and all that stuff, okay? So they immediately went to him and were like, hey, that report that came out about you selling your... the optics of that video was very bad. So we got to clean this up a little bit. This is a bad look for Ghana. So now he's saying they came and they started planting new trees for him. And they're telling him they're going to take care of him. And he doesn't need to sell the land and all that stuff. So basically... oh, man. See, this is why I like the internet. This is why I like the internet, because the internet gives society a glimpse or an insight into places where they wouldn't even think of. Okay? Places that, or things that wouldn't cross your mind. Things that are happening all over the world. If the internet doesn't shed light on some of the practices, the unethical and evil practices that are happening in the world, even if someone came and told you, you wouldn't believe it. But now, thanks to the internet, thanks to the power of social media, thanks to the power of YouTube, you can see all these things. And you can see them in a matter of minutes. And so the internet, in a way, is shedding light on things that are basically things that are basically what you would refer to as social injustices, right? Issues of inequality, income inequality, issues of poverty, and stuff like that. Things that ordinarily, if you live a comfortable life, you wouldn't even think about it. I mean, when you go to your average pharmacy, CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, Rite Aid, and you pick up a chocolate bar, a Hershey's bar, and you're eating it, you do not think about all the processes that chocolate bar had to undergo before it ended up in your hands, right? from the cocoa beans that were harvested from this 62-year-old man's farm, and how it made its way across the ocean all the way till it finally ended up at Hershey's, and it ended up in the form of a chocolate bar. You're not thinking about all that. You're just biting into it and enjoying it and thinking, man, this is some great chocolate. But behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. And it's something that you need to be aware of. Just kind of like how about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, documentaries started shedding light on diamonds, and how, you go to a diamond store and you buy an engagement ring for your girlfriend, and you don't think about the fact that, there's some 8-year-old kid in Sierra Leone who has one hand chopped off and is using the other hand to dig, is a couple feet underground and is digging up some diamonds for you, so that some company can exploit that child or exploit that nation and bring that diamond to you in America, and you can go get it and get on one knee and give it to your girlfriend. You're not thinking about all that. But with exposure comes awareness. And that is where the internet plays such a big role. Let's wrap up this video and wrap up this episode.
It brings me a good result because they are follow you to see what I've done and what it is worrying me.
Now, will you still sell your farm?
No. I will never do that again because I need help. Now I have what I'm going to do again. I will never do.
Do you guys believe him? Because I don't. This mofo right here can't be trusted. Oh man, this mofo looks like he's gonna go to the government and be like, okay, so you guys are gonna help me out, right? Okay, listen, how much are you gonna give me again? And then when he's done talking to the government, he's gonna go to the guys that are still doing the illegal mining on this farm, be like, hey man, am I gonna get another $20,000 check next year? Oh man, I don't blame him though. Listen, I don't blame him. He's doing what he got to do to survive.
That galamsey work again. I will do that cocoa work to help the nation.
Perhaps
he got himself a nice polo shirt and a hat and everything with some Wrangler jeans and everything. You know what I'm saying? That $20,000 came in good. That 20 grand went a long way, okay? Oh man.
Needs to extend this engagement to other cocoa farmers in mining communities who intend to trade their cocoa with gold.
Yeah, but they won't.
Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kunsu, Ashanti region.
Yeah. So as the reporter just said, the only way to effectively stop this is to, whatever offer the government made to this guy, they will have to make the same offer to every other cocoa farmer whose land is at risk or is in a region that these illegal miners know is sitting on rare earth minerals. Now, will the government do that? Will it reach out to every 60-something-year-old farmer? Will it reach out to the gentleman we saw in the previous video? Will it reach out to each and every one of them? Not really. Not really. The only reason why they reached out to this gentleman is because he was in the expose. That's it. Now, if you go and you watch the episode prior to this one, though, I talked about how the governments, the nations of Ghana and Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, which are the two biggest between these two countries. Between these two countries alone, they produce 60% of the world's cocoa. How they were, taking incentives to raise the price of cocoa so that they can provide the hard-working cocoa farmers like these guys, they can give them a little bit more money for the cocoa that they're bringing to the market, because clearly They're not paying them enough. Okay, the amount of money that they're getting is not enough to show for the amount of work that they put in. And that is where, so basically the government needs to, it's a two-pronged approach. You can't tell the farmers, we're going to pay you more. And there's no farm for them, there's no land for them to farm on. So it's a two-pronged approach. Pay them more, and at the same time, get rid of the illegal miners. That's the only way, because if you can't do one and leave the other out. You can't say, I'm going to give you more money for your cocoa, and the illegal miners are still there, still destroying the lands, because if the land is all gone, where is he going to farm? Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope, this episode was not for my Ghanaian viewers. It was more for my, those of you who live in the States and in Europe and subscribe to the show, so that you can see what's happening in my beloved Ghana. This is what's happening in that country right now. And, if you have any comments, just leave them below. Let me know what you think. And again, don't forget to subscribe to the show if you haven't done that. If you like, what you saw and you are still here, then obviously you like the content. So please go ahead and subscribe to the show and share the episode. Share the episodes with friends and with family. And until I see you on the next episode, do what I always tell you. Don't do what I wouldn't do. Be kind to your fellow man. And I will see you when I see you. All right. It's your boy, Mr. James Carrington, signing off, babe.